Hello and welcome. My name is Aileen Glynn and welcome to my new collection of paintings called The Ninth Wave. So these paintings, they've been a long time coming. I started working on them last October and it's been about, hi everyone, thanks for joining, especially on, and here comes one of my dogs as well, on such a beautiful sunny day in Cork. I hope you're all enjoying some sunshine. I'm going to be sitting outside now a little bit and Doris has just joined us as well. So my last collection of paintings, if I can just bring you back to that, was Samhain, which is all about trees. I have one of them here to show you. This one here, if you can see this one here. So I was working on those paintings and my work had been quite abstract and all these trees started emerging. And then I just got this, I suppose, like a notion about creating warrior women. And also I'm a mum and I have three children. I have two teenage daughters, and I just think being a teenager now is so challenging. And I suppose it was also tied up with the ideas I have as a mother towards my daughters, seeing them growing up, and all about the mythology about warrior women. And I don't know, I just had this idea and it kept reverberating around for months. So I'm just going to show you one of these trees became a woman, and it was two sort of happened around the same time. It's hard to know for me even which came first. And I also had this really strong idea about taking a photograph of one of my daughters in profile against her computer screen. So she's like, her face is like lit up, and using that as sort of inspiration or to abstract from that. So I think because I didn't go to art college, I went to study literature instead. So I think my approach to painting is actually quite literary. It sounds kind of crazy. I was describing this to my husband and I think he thought I was going mad. But I feel like I'm researching a novel or a play and I just go into this really deep, it feels like I'm under the sea or something. I just keep researching these ideas and going into it really, really deeply and thinking about it. So these characters, these warrior women, became like characters in this sort of imaginary novel in my head. And then I'm also, if you can imagine, it was a play, and then all the other paintings are like the landscapes of their world. So I don't know if that even makes sense to you, but that's how it felt like to me. It felt like I was the author and I was creating these characters and I was also imagining the world I lived in. So very loosely, the idea came from that in ancient Ireland, society was much more equal than it is now, much more matriarchal, and women had the same rights as men. They could enter into the same professions as men, and with all the stuff that's happening, even in the media, or all the stuff that's happening to women, like we're not as equal now. And I have two daughters, and I want them to have these sort of strong role models. So that was sort of all in my head while I was painting these crazy women warriors. So I imagined if these women warriors were still with us, what would the world be like? And if the world was truly female, not just equal, but if it was actually more, had swung to the other side and was more female than male, what would the world be like? What would the landscape be like? And I'm also really interested in magic in Irish mythology. There's lots of stories of sort of magic and transformation, and women were very powerful because women could give birth, women menstruate, so they have this magic within them. So it was all kind of tied up together, if that makes sense. So I worked on them for a really, really long time in layers and layers, and I kept developing, and every so often I'd post a picture on Instagram and I'd get a lovely message saying, is that painting for sale? And I was like, no. So I kept saying, next month it'll be ready, next month. And it went on. And then eventually I decided I have to give myself a deadline, because I would just keep creating, keep adding to this imaginary world. So I gave myself the deadline, and then of course I had to, because I procrastinated, I had to stick to it. Thank you for the lovely comments about the work. I'm so nervous about showing it to you. It feels, I've been so nervous all week, all day, terrified. I know it's so personal when work leaves the studio, even though the exhibition is in my dining room, and here I am all dressed up, and I got my hair curled, and I'm wearing makeup. So it does feel like an exhibition, but it's exposing, but it's also very personal, because I can really talk about it more than I could if it was on an exhibition. So look, I'm going to start showing you the pieces, and then of course also I've had a complete technical disaster, and I'm not a technical person at all. People are having problems buying paintings, people weren't getting emails, so I stayed up till 2 a.m. dealing with all of that kind of. So I'm sorry, I'm really sorry for people who are messaging me. And oh yeah, just to say, the collection is now live on my website, and I'm going to give you a discount code. The code is WAVE, W-A-V-E, for the 9th wave, for 10% off any painting in the collection. And that code is valid till Monday night. Now, people who can't buy paintings or having problems, just send me an email with the piece you want, your full address, and then if you want it framed or not framed, and I'll just reserve it and we can correspond from that, because I don't know what's happening. And I'm going to have to get some people to help me, because it's not my area. So I really, really apologize. There were a lot of messages and emails, and I don't know. Anyway, let's go looking at paintings. So I'm going to show you the first one I'm going to turn this around now. So bye. If I can remember how to do this. Oh, it's so much easier when I don't have to look at myself. So this is the Singing Tree number 2. This is one of the sound pieces that I kept. So that was where my abstract painting started becoming trees. I just had this idea about faces at the same time. This is also the painting that's going to the London Biennale, if that's how it's pronounced. And this is also what a framed piece looks like. There's lots of questions about framing. So here's Doris. Hey Doris. These are the first 2 warrior women. Someone's saying, don't be nervous. Thank you very much, it's very kind. I think it was this one. This was a tree. If you can see, it was a tree. And then I just got an idea of using the profile of my daughter and creating, I suppose, a woman that's coming from nature, that's interlinking with nature, that's somehow connected to nature. And there were just so many layers and layers in these pieces. So that was the first, I think it was the first one. I call it She Listened to the Trees. My husband wants to keep this one. I tell him we can't keep them. Things are falling over here, sorry. Then this is the other one. So these 2, I kind of worked on them at the same time. And I was really developing the idea. This one I called She Was Made of Stardust. And it happened the same time as well that we actually lost somebody in our family who was very connected to that poem about we're all made from stardust. So I suppose it's an homage to all the people we've lost as well, you know, during the pandemic and all of that. But you can see she's a queen. She has a veil, or it could be her hair, and she has a crown. So I was working in a very, very different way, but they're still abstract, but it's a woman. So it's the idea of this warrior woman, and what is she looking at? What are they looking at? What are they seeing? So that was the crazy stuff inside of my head. This one here started as another warrior woman in the corner here. And I'm fascinated with the mythology, how people transform, they're transformed into you know, animals or stone. So I wanted something about that. So I actually lay her down and she became a hill, and then all this energy is kind of coming out of her. She's sort of connected to nature. So this one is called She Was the Wind Rising Up from the Purple Hills. And it reminded me of On Far Marav in Kerry, The Dead Man. And there's a lot of layers of pigment and oil and coal wax and so much oil paint. So they were the first few. Let me show you some more of the warrior. This was probably the next one. This is actually my other daughter that I used. She listened to the wind, and I've kind of masked her head. It's sort of that she can't see or what. It's all about the world that they're living in and what's happening to them. And this is her song as a shield. So they're looking into something, and something is happening. And I'm to be honest, I'm probably still figuring out what's happening to them. Then it took me a long time also to come up with the title. The title is the ninth wave, and this painting is the title painting. So in Irish mythology, they believed the water was sacred, and you could travel across the ninth wave to the land of the gods, and that was like a journey of transformation. So I love that idea about transformation and going beyond, and I think it's about our journey. So these are on board. This is 40 by 50 centimeters on board. I can hardly lift them up. Actually, it's quite heavy. There's just so many layers. They're thick with layers. Oil, coal paint, coal wax, and pigment. This is She Was the Rain, Tender, Young and Green. And a lady has asked me about what this would look like framed. So I'm just going to show you this one, and they're all kind of the same. So this is cradled panel. I signed the back. There are my fingerprints. The edges are clean like this. So you could just hang it like that if you wanted to. But if you want it framed, this is exactly the same side. It would look like this, if you can imagine. It would have this kind of frame. So I always just go for the same wooden frame. I get it done locally by hand. So I leave it up to you. You could get it framed yourself. You don't need to get them framed. I leave it as an option because it's expensive. So when it looks framed, then it's like this. It's still signed. You can see the wood inside, but just another edge. So it's completely optional. Waterfalls and flowers. Thank you. This is probably one of the last ones I finished, and it's called The Tender Pool, and I kind of feel like my work is evolving actually with these two pieces, and there is so much paint in this. It's actually almost 3D. This is actually a few centimeters below this layer. There are so many colors that and there you can see the texture. This is actually built up of layers and layers of oil paint. So what I'm doing is I'm just keeping an eye on how it dries. So I've marked it not for sale because I just want to keep an eye on it. But if you're interested, let me know and we can chat about it, because there is, so just to explain that. I love the colors in this, and it feels like things are evolving again for me. Just love this kind of center section and the light of it actually. I'm still trying to work this out. I hope I'm making sense. So this little piece here, if you can just see the layers, this is a small, so this is like 20, that's a meter by meter. This is 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. The air is not empty. A lovely lady just bought this today. So that is 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters unframed, and then this is what a framed one looks like. This is from the sky. So if that makes sense. So it's completely, we saw the echo unframed, so if I could literally just pop this down on top of this and the frame would fit. So that's how it works. I don't bother framing things myself. I hang them like this, but it's so subjective. I was also really interested in dance. This is Dausa 2. I've got 2 Dausas. Dausas is the Irish for dance. I did a lot of research into dance. Again, all these warrior women and how dance was used before Christianity, and how it was ritualized. So I pages researching this, but I just thought for this, me was about dance, about the movement and the energy. I'm hoping this makes sense. Then I'm fascinated by nature and what I see around me, and that really comes through in my palette. So you can imagine I started these paintings last autumn. So I started off, the first queens are red and greens, and then the cherry blossoms that were around in the early spring started coming through. So this painting, I called it "Oh Cherry Blossom, and there is so many layers of paint, and I painted it very different. You can see how thick the paint is. It's almost 3D here. So again, I'm just hanging on to this because I want to see, does it dry correctly, that there's no problems with it and it's stable. So if you're interested, just let me know and we can chat. So I've marked these two not for sale for that reason, because the volume of paint. I mean, my paint orders were crazy. So this is related, these ones are all related to the cherry blossom. This is when it rained petal snow. And I started using pigment with oil paint to create a kind of a texture. That's all about the cherry blossoms and, the snow you get from cherry blossom, the confetti on the ground. This is called "We Made a Home Beneath the Tree." So you can see again, for me, this is all about cherry blossoms, and cherry blossoms for me are really about childhood. Actually, there's something very, very magical about them. This is called "The Dance of the Cherry Blossom," and similar, the fluttering of pink and blue because of those incredible blue skies we had at that time, and a lot of texture with the pink and the colours, the yearning of the blossoms. So these ones have a similar story. They're connected. This one's on canvas, actually, just to show you a canvas one. So this one is 30 centimetres by 30 centimetres, and it's signed to the back. So the side is white, and it could be framed or it could be just hung like this. I will be putting hanging mechanisms on the back of everything, don't worry. So that's the yearning of the blossoms. Oh yes, here's another queen, all that she saw. This one is 50 centimetres by 50 centimetres, and I just love this detail here, all this texture, and it's about her engaging and interacting with the world. And again, they're kind of coming from somewhere. There's all this movement with them. And I think it's about their magic power in this kind of imagined landscape that I created for them. And also the suggestion is, are they blindfolded, that they can't see, but are they seeing something different? So and these are kind of like headdresses or their hair. So I want them to be almost from another realm, really. And they're looking at something, or they're coming from somewhere, and that's it. That's all about that. This is the 7 glens. So when I was researching the warrior queens, there was one called Leolocra, which is very interesting. She trained one of the warriors, very famous warriors, Cuchulainn, and she hid him in the area around Leolocra, which is actually the area my grandmother is from. And my eldest daughter is called Leah, and my youngest daughter, her third name is Lucra. So I felt that was very, very connected to me. And it was also known as the 7 glens, that area. So that's where this painting comes from. And it's very much, for me, it's very much an Irish landscape. So all these landscapes that I'm creating are all where these warrior women are living. This one's the rhythm of the rain, which we know a lot about. Just that softness and the movement and the colours and the way the flowers come down. She was the breath. I had an idea about, this is the tender rain. I wanted the idea about water being magical and transforming. If you can just see all the texture and this is done at the same time as that large painting. So something, I think I'm finding a new way of working here with colour. This one just sold. This is during the day she was a butterfly. This comes from my name, actually, my name Aideen. She was involved with King Mir, and his wife was jealous. His first wife was jealous of his love for her, so she transformed her into a fly that became a butterfly that was, I think, blown around the world for 7 years, and then eventually she landed into a cup of another woman who drank her, became pregnant with and gave birth to the second Aideen, who then married somebody else. And I remember as a child being deeply disturbed but fascinated by that story. So that is about the transformation into the butterfly and the journey, all about that kind of mythology. A lot of layers in this one as well. That one's on canvas. This is Dowsa. There was a lot of interest in this, so it's linked to Dowsa 2, and this is sold as well. I just love the colours in this. There were the silent song. I had this idea about my titles all linking together, that if I was creating this world, this is the fertile land, a land that was where these women lived, that there would be songs. This is the land was hers. There would be songs about this place, and then the idea the titles would be like fragments of a song or a poem about this place under the neon moon, which could link together to create. This is all the phrases that would join together to create a poem. So you can see that's connected to this one here. All that she saw, and then under the neon moon. She was wild and free. And so I'm not showing you all of them actually, because some of them are not available. She listened to the mist. So this is another warrior woman, and again she's looking out here, and this is nature that she's interacting with. So again, it's kind of abstracted from my daughter's face, and I just love the movement in the hair. Could the hair be seaweed? Is she coming from the sea? Is she, like a mermaid, part of the sea? So that's the idea with these out in the galaxy. This one could be like a galaxy. This one is, she dreamt her blue song of silence. This is actually with the acrylic, but it's about like this dreamy, magical world that they live in. And this piece, this is 40 by 60. It's acrylic, so it's got the drips on the side, which I quite like. But it could be framed, or it could be like this. This one is connected to that. These two are connected. So she dreamt her blue song of silence, and we heard her music. So I suppose like music, color, how you hear, how you see, how you feel things. So painting for me is, but I just wanted to be this sort of, painting for me is very emotional actually, but I wanted this to be a feminine but powerful world and a magical realm. This is called Ishka, a little small one here, 20 by 20 centimeters. So water was very, very powerful, and this is called We Are an Island People. Just show you all the layers in this. There's so many layers. You can see those like 3D with paint. So Ireland is an island, and we are very connected to the land. We're connected to the sea, and we used to be afraid of the sea. People, oh, thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer saying they're all so beautiful. I really appreciate that. we're afraid of the sea. The sea is something that people died in the sea, but was also seen as a source of magic and transformation. This is another one of the cherry blossom ones. The petals dropped deep into silence. Again, about all that kind of magic, the magic petals, and how cherry blossoms are so magical. And then there was a great silence. So my idea with these titles that they're all like moments in time or fragments of this poem all together. Sometimes what I did is I basically wrote a poem, and then I took fragments in that poem, and that became the different titles. They floated like pearls. I love the texture in this one as well. This was a landscape, but it just became something else. Again, it's kind of about the magic of, I'm going to show you this one again. So these are small 20 by 20. I love all the fingerprints. And titled at the back and signed at the back. There's a few more here. So they vibrated and sang for us. So I'm experimenting with using pigment, and different textures, and working in layers. It's on canvas. We heard the hum of their longing, very much for me like a landscape, like a tree. So that palette, these two, was taken at the time of the cherry blossoms. Yes, the 9th wave, and then this is the Steam Voyage. So the Steam Voyage was a very magical voyage to get beyond the 9th wave. Love this as well. Love the colours in this and this section here. This little bit here reminds me of like the heart of the painting. It's like a little magical center, like a whirl or nature. This seems to, I think it's just the way they paint, just the layers and layers of paint. So 30 by 40. We saw the echo. So again, layers and layers of different colours. I worked on these for months actually, building, adding from the sky. This one is like the idea of, was like wings. And then another one over here, a little one. The dawn came soft and gentle. And so I suppose the dawn is, I think, a really female time of the day, or something very powerful of that. The blue wall. I love this blue wall. I think I might be the only one in the family that does. So I think I've shown you most of them. There's a few more here. We traveled through water. So water seemed really, really important to me because water was seen as something magical, and also something that could transform you, could heal you, could give you magic. So I was really kind of tapping into that. I love the depth in this piece. This is called And If I Close My Eyes. So this is definitely one of the ones that linked together with other pieces to create poetry. I think the other line was, if I close my eyes, I see her still. And then, and she was the land. And then the other line was, and the land was her. So that was sort of the idea I had with some of these. I love these painting on wooden board like this. Actually, you can see how much my fingerprints, how many layers, how many layers were there. Because it's quite robust, and I can just keep building and adding layers, and I don't have to worry. Oh yes, the moving bog. So this linked to the other one about the 7 glens, a similar landscape. About, like, it's very much for a landscape for me, about the bog and the kind of magic of the bog, and how it very slowly creeps and changes. And then this one, a feather for a weather vane, I call this one. It's quite personal to me about when I paint, I find memories come flooding back. And this was a memory that it's been coming back for months, about a caravan in Kerry that used to be covered in feathers, and it was a captain that lived there, a retired English captain called Captain Soul. He lived in Ventry, and he made weather vanes. And I just remember as a child being fascinated with the feathers, the swirling feathers. I don't know, maybe I was about 6 or something. It's funny how some things will just stick in your head. So I gave it the title from that memory. So there's lots of, I suppose, little things inside there about them. So there they are. Then just to let me turn you around again. So a lot of the paintings on the website are marked as sold. Some of them are sold, and some of them have gone into submissions and open calls. Some of them are on exhibition, and a couple we're keeping. My husband wants to keep. So if you're interested, what I'll do is the whole thing with open calls is it's like if you're an actress and you're going for an audition, and you go for this audition and then you don't hear back for 6 months whether you've got the part or not. So think of these little paintings. Some of them are like little actors gone for auditions for all these different movies, and sometimes they mightn't hear for months. So some of the ones that are sold may come back again. So if you're interested, if some people have asked me about pieces, I can put you on a wait list, or you can just keep an eye on the website and I'll put them back again. So thank you for watching my live launch of the 9th wave. And then the 9th wave is about that kind of transformation. So I started off my journey with these warrior women and this kind of magical realm, this land they lived in, land of magic and transformation of these strong women. And then it became about, so the 9th wave is about a voyage and a personal discovery, which I think I'm certainly on a personal voyage of personal discovery, and we all are, I think. So it was about that, and it became much more about the sea. And again, it's all about mythology is my point of departure, but then it just kind of goes beyond that. So I hope that makes sense. Thank you everyone for all the gorgeous comments and feedback. It really, when you're painting, it's so private and so personal. It is lovely to get comments like that. It actually really gives me a great boost to my confidence, to my ego, whatever. Thank you very much. Because I'm nervous about showing them. Thank you for people who've bought pieces or have reserved pieces. I really appreciate that as well. And I love seeing photos of the work hanging up in your homes. These will be available as fine art prints, but I just haven't got around to setting that up yet, because that takes it's a whole other technical job. So that's it. I just wanted to show you them, chat about them, and they're now all live on the website. And there's a discount code called WAVE, W-A-V-E, WAVE, for 10% off any of these original paintings until midnight on Monday, I think. So if you are looking to buy a new piece of art, this would be a really good time. And framing is completely optional. I've shown you examples of pieces framed or unframed. If you want me to do the framing for you, I'm happy to do that, but it's not necessary. Or you can always just buy a painting as it is and frame it in the future. So don't let that, it's just personal preference on about what suits your home. Because people ask me about this all the time, so that's why I want to show you examples of both. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. I hope the sun stays with us tomorrow, and I'm going to I might just sit down and enjoy myself in a dress with my makeup on, and I'm going to have a glass of something nice. So thank you for watching the live launch, and have a lovely weekend. And any questions or comments, you can message me or email me. Thank you so much. Bye. I ended. I always forget how to end these things. Okay. Bye everyone. Thank you for joining.